Thank you to everyone who's joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking about Tulane School of Professional Advancement in our Information Technology program. I'm joined today by Professor Ralph Russo. We're going to give a little bit more formal introductions here in a second, but I wanted to go ahead and kick this off, talk a little bit through our agenda. So we're going to cover the history of Tulane SOPA, talk a little bit about what we offer, specifically the Information Technology program, how we help to support student success, how to apply, tuition and financial aid, and then we'll have a Q&A section at the back where we can talk through all the things that come up as we're going over this. So to give that more formal introduction, my name is Chris Lloyd. I'm an admissions associate here at Tulane SOPA. I've been in this role since November of last year, and my focus has been on working with students, so that either those in the application portion, those of you who are still evaluating and maybe haven't submitted yet, as well as our students who are actually on the ground. So if you're ever out here at Elmwood or stop by for a visit, you'll definitely see me. Otherwise, I'm joined here by Professor Ralph Russo. Ralph, could you please give a little bit about your background?
Yeah, hi folks. I'm Ralph Russo, as Chris mentioned. I'm not just a professor, I'm the director of the Information Technology Programs Department at Tulane SOPA. So I'd love to tell you folks a little more about what we've built. Bill Riles will not be joining us. He is at a cybersecurity conference in New York City.
Thank you, Ralph. So to start with, a little bit about the history of Tulane SOPA. Tulane University was originally founded in 1834, and then by 1886, you had the first continuing education classes offered. So you're looking at about 140 years or so where Tulane has demonstrated a commitment to adult learners, where we've been able to actually interact with the community and have people come in and get a high quality education at a price point that's accessible. So our school was really founded as an outreach division of Tulane. And our initial mission was to be able to offer courses to teachers and other people in the community where we could help to develop skills and give people access to this high quality education. But we've since grown and changed. So recently we actually rebranded. In April of 2017, we relaunched as the School of Professional Advancement, or SOPA. So for those of you in the area, you may have known us as University College or even as School of Continuing Studies, but now you'll find everything under that SOPA banner. And right now what we offer are 9 bachelor's degree programs, and this is growing every day. You should see over the next year or so, this number grow more. And it's all built around 8 distinct programs of study. All of these programs have been built and developed with local industry and national industry in mind. So we've worked with local groups like GNO to help to refine our offerings and ensure that they actually match what's in demand for the field. Another unique aspect here is that almost 300 of our courses are offered online and on-campus formats. So you've got that dual delivery method that can be really helpful for students and can also ensure that you have a way to set yourself up on a delivery method that works for you. So whether that's an evening class, an online class, whichever is going to work best for you. And then we also have 6 100% online master's degrees and 1 master's degree that's available through a combination of online and on-campus courses. So there's a lot of flexibility there in that delivery. And then you really got that opportunity to engage with the coursework in the way that fits best for you. So talking a little bit more about that, that combination of online or on campus or picking one of those distinct delivery methods really gives you the opportunity to engage with your coursework in the way that's going to be the most impactful for you. So if you're a very tactile learner, you're someone where you want to have that in-class experience, you want to be able to interact with your professors and all the people available to you locally, then those in-class sessions are going to work really well for you. And if you're someone where maybe you have real-world obligations, you're working during the day, or you need to find a more flexible way to receive your coursework, where you're maybe not having to tune in at a specific time, then that's where those online courses can be really helpful for you. You can get that synchronous delivery where either you're in a live class session, you're interacting with your professor, or you get that asynchronous delivery where you're able to watch it when you're ready and actually work through it at your own time. So that's really beneficial to people who have those obligations that might limit the amount of time they can actually be in a class. Typically our classes, if you are in one of a live class session, those are going to be either a daytime or evening session. So a typical class will meet on, say, one day during the week, a Monday or a Tuesday, and then you'll meet for 2 hours and 50 minutes. Typically 6 p.m. to 8:50 is a really standard class time. And then from there, you'll have the accompanying homework that goes with it. When you're looking at those grad level courses, you might have more of those online courses where you're the one who's actually going to be responsible for ensuring that you meet those delivery dates and that you're keeping abreast of your work. So to move on and talk a little bit more directly about our information technology program, I want to turn it over to Professor Ralph Russo. Ralph, could you give us a little bit more depth on the program?
Sure thing, Chris. So as you can see, program of study in IT. So it talks about industry relevant knowledge and grounding in the liberal arts. But I want to tell you a little bit more about how the kind of the philosophy we brought to building these courses. And we have a phrase we use, we call it pracademia, which is we're going to give you a solid grounding in academics while ensuring that you gain the practical knowledge you need to succeed in business, whether that's in the undergraduate program or in the graduate program. To continue with that, we look at these things from a technical, governance and leadership and business perspective. So both our undergraduate and graduate programs look at IT from a technical perspective, a governance and leadership, and a business perspective, so that you could succeed in the business world within an IT department or as a consultant or contractor. Next is talks about our faculty, and that's something I'm most proud of. In fact, if you get a chance to go to our website and take a look at the information technology programs faculty, you'll see bios on some of our instructors. So why is that different? Well, your faculty are leaders, executives who are currently working in the information technology world. They have the academic grounding, they have PhDs and masters, but they are currently operating in the business world or in government. And what that means is when you take an information technology class in my program, you'll be learning from somebody who could not only tell you the academic fundamentals, and we'll talk about why that's important later, but they'll talk not just about the academic fundamentals, but about the practical use in business. So a problem that comes up in your class will be informed by something that's happening in business right now. And so that we think that's a differentiator with our programs and other schools. And as far as online courses are concerned, Chris talked about that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But the last bullet point is undergraduate and graduate degrees offer opportunities to specialize. So if you go to the next slide, Chris, I'd like to talk a little bit about that specialization. So we've got two master's programs. The master's programs are 100% online. We have a master's in information technology management, and we have a master's in cybersecurity management. Again, those are 100% online. And then I offer a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, and that BS in IT comes with 5 concentrations: app dev, product and program support, which is a unique kind of a thing that we offer, which will prepare you for the governance side, leadership side, even at the undergraduate level, in terms of learning Agile Scrum, learning DevOps, learning to be a project manager, learning to be a leader in a product organization and be a product manager, learn to be a business analyst. Those things all go into that concentration. Then we got systems and network admin, cloud and virtualization, which is cutting edge. We have an undergraduate concentration in that. And we've got a cybersecurity undergraduate concentration. We've also got certificates. So at the graduate level, at the master's level, we offer a certificate, a cyber defense certificate, a cyber leadership certificate, IT strategic planning, and a technology architecture. The first two are within the cybersecurity program, and they are stackable. So what does stackable mean? That means that as you go for your cybersecurity management master's, you can earn these certificates at the same time, or you could start with a certificate and then stack them and lead into a master's, so you don't. There's no additional cost or effort. The cyber defense is a more technical certificate. The cyber leadership is a more governance and leadership and business focused certificate. Within the IT management program, the strategic planning certificate, again, is from a more governance, leadership type of a certificate, and the technology architecture is a more technical certificate within the IT management graduate program. We also offer post-baccalaureate certificates if you've got an undergraduate degree and you just want to get some specialized information in cybersecurity, information technology, or in application development. We can accommodate those with certificates. Next slide, Chris. Something I want to say about this slide is that. Sorry, lost my chain of thought. So we've got flip model. We've got asynchronous versus synchronous type of learning. What does that mean? So if you're in an online course, it is largely asynchronous. What does that mean? That means you log on and do your work when you have a chance. So if you work till 3 a.m., maybe you want to come home and do your work at 3 a.m. in the morning. You can do that. It is a largely asynchronous experience. However, we include synchronous sessions. Now, we don't require the students to be at synchronous sessions. They may have work to do, but we do require them to then watch a recording. So what is a synchronous session? This is a synchronous session right now. Everybody's logged into Zoom. You could see everybody. If everybody had their cameras on, you could see everybody's faces. You could raise your hand. You could chat. You can break into groups. So that would be a synchronous session that's part of our online experience. We include that because we want you to be able to ask questions of your instructor, to meet your fellow students, to develop network relationships between students and instructors. Don't forget, your instructors are leaders in major organizations such as Microsoft or Google or a bunch of different organizations. You'll want to network with them as well. So we see that as a differentiator. You're very much getting a very flexible online master's degree, or at the undergraduate level, you have the option of going on ground or online. And so we are very flexible. Additionally, we've got access to over 200 online labs throughout my programs, which means that when you leave the program, you will have gone hands-on over and over again. The saying about some programs is you can write a paper about a router, but you can be standing next to a stack of them and you wouldn't recognize them. We aim for our students to leave our programs with hands-on experience in real world type situations, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Again, our faculty of current IT practitioners, and we've also got a wrapper around the program. The first thing I want to let folks know is that whether you're an on-ground or an online student, you will very much be a full-time or a full-fledged Tulane student. That means if you're in the online program and you live in New Jersey, if you decide to come down to New Orleans, you'll have access to the full campus, to the library, to everything that a on-ground or in-person student has access to, you would have access to. Additionally, we have a library with millions of digital articles, digital books, digital content that you would have access to. We also have other services and other programs that might be interesting. We have a women in technology mentorship program. So if you're a female or a woman who's part of our program and want one, we would hook you up with a mentor who's a female mentor who's successful in industry, so that you could learn a little bit more about how to navigate the culture. There's been a lot of studies and articles written about the challenges of the IT culture for women. We seek to break through that wall with this type of a program. We've also got a cyber competition team, which we're just standing up now for our students to compete against other universities. We're very proud of that, and we're putting a lot of money and effort into that as well. And you'll be a Tulane alumni when you graduate. And what does that mean? That means that successful people all over the world will be Tulane alumni, and you'll have a connection to those folks. You'll be able to participate in Tulane alumni events and take advantage of things like Tulane's Evergreen application. It's a phone app for Tulane graduates who want to network with other Tulane and have access to other things as well. So lastly, I want another differentiator, because if you're shopping around for a program, I don't blame you. You should shop around. So the way we build our courses is also, I think, special and unique. And if you're seeking an online or just to go online part-time, or if you're going to be an on-ground student, you may wonder about what are these courses? How are they built? Well, we've taken a lot of time and effort, and we have a process to build a course at Tulane University that I think you'll be interested in. We take a subject matter expert in the field, usually one of our professors, who's also got an academic standing and academic ground, and we pair them with a PhD in instructional design, and they build the course. With, of course, myself and my associate director oversee that effort, but they build that course from the ground up. So you get a industry SME and an academic SME who understands the best way to deliver content for students. For example, our studies show us that videos shouldn't be longer than 7 or 8 minutes. So we keep our videos to about 7 or 8 minutes so that they're more consumable by our students. So we've used a lot of studies, and we use the best people to build them. Then we took our learning management system, which is Canvas, which is pretty widely used in academia, but we took that learning management system and we built it out, and we actually added a social hub that a lot of universities don't have that feature or functionality, and so that students could better communicate and network when taking online courses. And so we did these course builds, and then we took a media group, which is some of our graphics experts, and our video studio is actually in Hollywood, and they do academic videos with a Hollywood flair. And we took them and we made them available to our SMEs, both our industry SMEs and our instructional design SMEs, so that your courses have compelling content. They're just not a 45-minute PowerPoint talking head, or they're just not a bunch of PDFs to read. Yeah, you're going to have that kind of content. You're also going to have very compelling graphics and professionally made videos and other types of content. We are very much invested in, as far as your assessments and tests, we're very much invested in project work and group project work. We're doing away with final exams that are written exams like multiple choice. We're doing away with that. We're committed to doing real world type exercises and use case scenarios for students to solve problems based on what they're learning. So if that sounds interesting to you, this is what you're going to find in a Tulane SOPA information technology course, whether it's undergraduate or graduate. Let's see, career options. So you've got a bunch of career options listed up there, and you take a quick look at those. What I want you to know, though, that's just kind of just a sampling of that's kind of a sampling of types of jobs. This list could actually be 100 roles long. There's that many roles in information technology and cybersecurity. There are estimates that there are anywhere from 500,000 to 1 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs in the United States, and that's based off of research which we commissioned. It's not just a website. So your career options are way more than what you see up there. I do have to say, though, that what this slide is telling you is not that you're going to get your degree, tuck it under your arm, and go out and become the CIO of a major, Fortune 500 company. That's just not the way it works. I like to say that when I was in industry for many years in information technology management, what I used to say is there's 3 things I look for in a resume. And we at Tulane are aiming to give you a large chunk of that. The first one is academic. Why do you need an academic degree to succeed in industry? Why don't you just go get a bunch of certifications, right? Isn't that just as good? And the answer is no, it's not just as good. An academic education not only tells you the what, a certification will tell you what to do and how to do it, but an academic education tells you why and gives you the foundational knowledge. The difference there is that as technology changes, with an academic education, you'll be able to change with it because you'll have the foundational underpinnings of information technology. However, professional certifications aren't a bad thing, and I recommend them to my students, and we've ensured that our courses have an applied level that teach a lot of what's in the professional certifications. And I'm even though I haven't done it yet, it's in progress. I'm working with Amazon Web Services right now and with CompTIA to find a way to do certifications through our courses. But whether you take them through the university or not, I think that those things are complementary. Academic education is absolutely indispensable. You're also going to need to be able to communicate in whatever you do, both with people in information technology and outside of IT, such as a CEO or a COO of a company. You're going to need to be able to communicate with those folks. You need that academic underpinning, whether it's an undergraduate degree or a graduate degree. And let's face it, you may say, well, I just want to be a developer, an application developer. Well, yeah, you do, but eventually you might want to be a lead developer, or you might want to be a manager, or you might want to open up your own business or be an entrepreneur. That academic education is important. So we aim to give you the academic part of it, and also by giving you those labs to go hands-on, we aim to get you experience. Each one of your courses at the undergraduate level, your concentrations, and at the graduate level, all of your concentrations end up with a capstone course. And each one of the master's program ends up with a capstone course. So why do we do that? We want you to bring all the knowledge you've learned in your specified field, whether that's a cybersecurity management master's or a cybersecurity concentration at the undergraduate, whatever you're learning, we want you to bring that knowledge together in one course, and then we want you to develop a portfolio project that you bring out into the real world. Tulane knows that when you go out into the real world, you'll have a degree that says Tulane under one arm. What we want under your other arm is a portfolio of work you've done so that you can show an employer, as part of your capstone, you can show an employer exactly what you learned and what you're prepared to bring to the dance, so to speak. And lastly, before I turn it back over to Chris, we've developed at Tulane, we've developed a fake company called South Balance. It has a mission statement. It has products. It has a website. In fact, if you go to southbalance.com, that's a Tulane website for a fake business. It has a org chart with leaders throughout the chart. It has a infrastructure, a network infrastructure, and we have labs and a laboratory sandbox that is built out to look like South Balance's network infrastructure. So when you go to do a hands-on assignment, you will be looking at an actual company with actual people and roles with actual problems. So you're not going to be doing greenfield assignments. You're going to be told that South Balance has a problem, or South Balance is adding an office overseas. Or, well, if they're opening an office overseas, maybe they need to know about GDPR so they don't run afoul of European legislation. So this is the kind of deep learning, both technical, governance, and business, that you're going to get with a Tulane information technology undergraduate degree or master's degree. So, and I'm going to stick around in case you folks have questions at the end. Chris, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Professor Russo. I think to kind of tie in what Professor Russo was saying into our student support and success, he talked a lot about the ways that the program itself sets you up for success on your career by giving you those sort of real world examples and giving you skills that you'll be able to apply towards your career path. But one of the other ways that we also help with that student support is through our academic advisors. So at the undergraduate level, you'll be dealing with our advisors that are here based either at our Elmwood campus or where they can meet you at the Uptown campus. They also meet with you online or through the phone or via email. So if you're someone who's here locally, you got a few different ways and places to meet with your advisors, as well as a few different delivery methods. So if you are an online only student, that's where you'd have the ability to just do that Zoom session with your academic advisor, or get that sort of asynchronous sort of response by doing an email appointment. For those of you at the graduate level, that's where you'd have someone like Professor Russo as an academic advisor, and he'd meet with you in a variety of different ways. But the things that he was talking about are some of the ways that he would help to support your success by giving you that project-based learning or giving you an opportunity to really engage with your coursework beyond just those projects you're doing. You know, you have the capacity to really get as much information as you want out of this and tackle as much as you want. So advisors can help you support that by laying out a career path for you, helping you other options out there, maybe things like internships, connecting with the network of Tulane alumni that we have out there in order to give you that leg up when you're going out into the field. Another way that is really manifested here is on our Elmwood campus. You've got really great career advising from Miss Cynthia Washington. She works with a lot of the corporations here and some of the bigger employment boards to try to find positions for our students. She helps with resumes, helps with internships. So if you're someone where you're coming in and maybe you're doing a career change and you don't know how to sell yourself, that's where Cynthia can be really essential to you. You know, you can walk in and you can start that process of rehabbing your resume to where by the time you do graduate from either your undergrad, your graduate, or even a certificate program, you've got a way to sell those skills. And those skills are something that I think Ralph hit on again and again, which is you're developing skills through your academic pursuits, but also you're getting that experience from that expert faculty. They've got that industry experience. So having that academic foundation to base it off of, that's going to be a great foundation for you. But having that experience from people who've been out working in the field, understand maybe what the demands are of these specific projects or even these types of skills, giving you that experience is going to be an extreme help to you. You have that ability to use their experience as a roadmap. And so getting that advising paired with the network of Tulane alumni and then that faculty experience, it gives you a really dynamic way to interact with both your professors, your faculty, and that network at large. So you've got a lot of opportunities to show off your skills. One of the last ways that you really can help to accelerate your time here and really ensure that you're able to succeed is looking at those credits for prior learning. So for those of you that may be going into a bachelor's program, but you have significant industry experience, that's where you can use credits for prior learning to accelerate your time here. So you can maybe get a few credits or up to 24 credits at that undergraduate level to where you're earning those based upon what you've already done. So maybe you're working in IT management and you're getting this academic degree to show those skills or maybe to learn more skills, but you can get those credits to cut down on your cost out of pocket, your time in school, all those things that are going to be, you know, those logistical little pieces that might slow your journey down. So we're going to look for ways that we can help you to get to your end goal faster. So moving on, talking a little bit more about the logistical piece being the application process. The way that you actually apply is go to sopa.tulane.edu, so sopa.tulane.edu, and you'll start an application on there. You should see this bright green application button at the top that says apply or apply now, and from there you'll go in and create an account. You won't have to worry about the application fee. We're going to go ahead and take care of that for you because you gave us some of your day today. So you're going to use this code FREEDAY, just one word, FREEDAY, and that'll ensure that you're not paying that application fee. So if you're ordering transcripts or you've got anything else that you need to pay for in your life, that's $40 or $50 you're not going to have to worry about right now. From there, the pieces that you'll have to take care of are a photo of your government issued ID, so you know that state ID or driver's license, and then your transcripts. So if you've got those unofficial transcripts, don't let that be what's holding you up. We can review with unofficial transcripts, And we can also move you a little bit further along in the process with those while we're waiting for those full transcripts to come in. Now, when you're sending in those transcripts, you're going to want to make sure that you're sending them digitally preferred, or you can also send them physically. We'll talk about the address for that in just a moment. But some of the requirements for the graduate program are going to be a little more specific. So ideally, what we're looking for if you're applying to the graduate program is you've got a major in mathematics, computer information systems, computer science, information sciences, engineering, or statistics. So those are all those related fields to that comp sci information technology track. Also, what we could also use is if you have a BA without computing major or significant computing coursework, if you've got that 3 to 5 years of professional experience, that helps to offset not having a degree in field. I know a lot of people do a career transition after graduating, so maybe that experience you have in field is really what's going to set you apart, and that may be experience that you can also put towards credit for prior learning. So that's a way to accelerate your journey if you have that experience. So ideally, you're either degree in field or you've got that industry experience with a degree in another field. For your transcripts, we're ideally looking for a 3.0 or higher. If you've got significant industry experience, then that's where your resume or maybe a supplemental personal statement can help to give us that little insight into what you've experienced and help us to understand that maybe that's why you don't have that 3.0, or that there have been other things that have occurred in your life that have offset your journey. Otherwise, the other pieces you have to submit, that government issued ID, you'll have to answer a few questions in the application. I recommend when you're answering those questions, be as verbose as possible. Share as much as you can, because that context is essential to helping us understand you. The more we know about you and the more we know about your journey, the easier the evaluation process becomes. There's less of that follow-up conversation. The last piece is attaching that resume or CV. I know that many of our applicants have extensive experience, and that resume or CV is the way for us to see it. So if we get that look inside of your background, then that's what can really help us to understand maybe, why you don't have a perfect GPA, or why you don't have as much industry experience in one field, but you have it in a related field. Anything that you share with us is going to help us to develop that full picture of who you are. So talking a little bit more about that application and where to send those transcripts, you can send those electronic transcripts to soparecords@tulane.edu. So if you're using Parchment or Transcript Clearinghouse or any of these other sources of delivery, then that's where you're going to direct it towards that SOPA Records email box. With that, we're able to get them copied over pretty quickly, and you usually don't see it taking more than a few days to maybe a week for a school to actually send those. So it can get you into the process quickly, and you can also go ahead and upload those unofficial transcripts so that we know where you're at, what your GPA was, what courses you've taken, until we get that final official transcript. If you have a physical hard copy that was issued to you, may even recently or in the near past, and it's still sealed and has that either sticker or signature from the registrar, then that's where we can use that hard copy transcript, and it can either be delivered to us or mailed to us at Tulane SOPA at our Elmwood campus, and that's 800 East Commerce Road, Suite 100 in Harahan, Louisiana, with a zip code of 70123. So if you're in the area, you can do that delivery yourself, accelerate getting the review in, or you can wait for the mail system to actually send that out for you. So just to cover the application deadlines, our graduate application deadline for fall's already passed, but you do still have time to get in for spring. Spring, you got December 15th as a deadline. So you still got about 4 months or so to get everything together. So this can be time to use as part of your evaluation process. You can find out more about the program, schedule a visit on campus so you can actually talk with the professors. If you're looking at that undergraduate pathway, you still got until tomorrow to get your application submitted. So if you are still considering fall, I'd recommend go ahead, start the application, put in any of those unofficial transcripts you have, use that free day code so it doesn't cost you anything out of pocket to get started. And then from there, you can work on getting those final official transcripts. So if you're someone where you haven't gone on to a university after high school, we just need your proof of high school graduation. That can be your diploma, it can be the transcript from the school, whatever's going to show us that you've actually completed that high school level and are ready for a collegiate level. For those of you that are at the graduate level, we'll need all transcripts from named institutions that you've attended. So if it's listed on one of your transcripts, we will need that. So if you're someone where maybe you've done joint services or you've got experience that's accumulated via your military deployment, those are additional transcripts that will be helpful for us to understand what skills you've learned, what sort of work you've done while you were in your service deployment. And then from there, we can actually use those towards possibly getting you credit for prior learning. So for undergrad, you still got time. For graduate, you're looking more at that spring or even summer date. So to talk a little bit about what the cost is, for fall 2019 and spring 2020, you're looking at $474 a credit hour for undergraduate and $1039 a credit hour for graduate. So if you're local, you're probably seeing similar costs from other major private universities here. And then if you're coming from somewhere, maybe in another part of the United States or outside of the United States, then what you're looking at is really competitive nationally, especially for other programs that have the name recognition of Tulane. When you graduate from Tulane SOPA, you're walking out with a degree that says Tulane University. There's no commas, there's no colons, there's nothing telling you that it is school professional advancement. So you get a really wonderful value here in that you get access to a Tulane University education, but not necessarily at that same price point. So you're getting something that's accessible for you. And also, you know, if you have those other means to help pay for your education, then that's where if your boss, your employer, if you have GI Bill, if you have any of those government benefits that allow you to have someone else paying for your education, it may be a way to have zero out-of-pocket cost for you. So one of the ways that we see some students engage with this is if you're a retired service member, you can go and get a yellow ribbon scholarship. We currently have, I believe, over 30 of these right now, with a lot of them unclaimed still. So Yellow Ribbon Scholarship will offset any cost differences between your GI Bill or educational benefits and the cost of attendance. So for our service members, it's a great way to get a really high quality education without paying out of pocket. For those of you who may not be in that bucket, we also offer discounts for active duty military. So if you're not able to get that Yellow Ribbon Scholarship yet, you can still get that active duty discount, as well as retired veterans. This extends out to Coast Guard, National Guard, you know, all these different branches that our service members serve in. And then we've also got teachers and then Orleans and Jefferson Parish employees who receive that discount. So maybe you work for the Sewer and Water Board here in New Orleans, or you work over at City Hall and you want to do some skill development to really improve your career options in your current position, then this is a great way to get a discount, not pay that full rate, and maybe limit the amount of out-of-pocket costs you have so that if you do use things like financial aid, you're not really having to take out those full scope of loans. By attending Tulane SOPA, you still do qualify for all the same financial aid options that you would if you were at Tulane's main campus or any other accredited university. So if you need to take out loans or if you're applying for any of those grants, you still qualify. So grants, loans, and discounts are a great way to really reduce your cost out of pocket. And then earlier, we were talking about the credits for prior learning. Another really wonderful way to reduce your tuition cost and earn your degree more quickly. You're leveraging that professional experience that you have, and you're getting through your degree much quicker. So for your bachelor's and master's degree, you can use the credits for prior learning. Typically, this is going to be something that you've done outside of the classroom. So work experience, community service, military training. Military training is a really common way that we see people get credits for prior learning. And basically what you do in that is you take a portfolio assessment class, and what you do is you write up about all the different things that you've done, these different skills you have. So maybe if you were a communications officer in the military and you've got a certification that's related to that, or you were working in IT while you were in the military, but you don't have that certification, but you've got those years of experience, then that's where that credits for prior learning can be used to really accelerate your journey. So at the graduate level, that's 6 credits. That's 2 classes that you get for less than the cost of 1 class. So with that portfolio assessment, you're paying about $1,000 for it for that 1 course. It's a 3-credit course, and then you've got whatever credits you earn off of that. So it's a really big way to accelerate because with that, what you're doing is you're essentially lopping off a semester. A typical student is maybe taking 6 credits or 9 credits in a semester, and if you can get rid of 6 credits through 1 course, that's a really great way to reduce out-of-pocket cost. At the undergraduate level, though, this is where it's extremely impactful. So if you're maybe a part-time student where you're taking 6 credits a semester, that's 4 potential semesters that you could get taken care of through credits for prior learning. you could be almost a full quarter of the way towards your degree knocked off. So if you're coming in even with credits at your bachelor's degree, you're looking at a way to really cut down that time in school. So if you have obligations to where maybe you can only take so many courses in a semester, that credits for prior learning is a great way to leverage your experience. So moving on from that, we're going to be actually hold a brief Q&A here. So if anyone hasn't submitted already, go ahead, submit now or submit through the chat, and we can make sure to cover your content. It looks so far like we don't have any comments. So for anyone that is interested, this webinar that we've hosted will be put onto YouTube and distributed to you after. I want to open the floor up to Professor Russo, because I'm sure he has some last comments that he wants to share with you all.
Well, yeah, so you folks have heard a lot of information, and you have an opportunity to shoot a question now. I see folks are using the QA box, not the chat box, Chris. I already answered a question, but I'll hang for a couple of minutes and wait for questions. But to sum it up, if you're going back for your education, you obviously want the degree from a top 50 university. That's something you want. But what you learn in the program, the way you learn it, the delivery mechanism, the people that are teaching you, these things matter, and they matter a lot. And because that learning and those experiences go with you for life. So it's one thing to get that degree under your arm, whether it's an undergraduate or a master's degree, but it's another thing to know that you're getting that degree from top executives, and you're learning in an environment, and you're learning materials that have been vetted. For example, my programs are 100% in line with ABET accreditation. Their listed course curriculum for an IT degree. We're 100% in line with that. We're also 100% in line with ACM's recommended information technology degree, and we're seeking ABET accreditation. So you should know that what you're getting, not every school's the same. You can't always do it by name. And you really got to look at what you're learning and who you're learning it from. So I think that's important to say, because, excuse me, when you walk away, you want the best for yourself.
Thank you, Professor Russo. So to sort of synthesize what we all talked about today and give you guys that sort of recap moment, we really emphasize the flexibility of our program offerings, the tie-in with local industry and national industry. So these are programs that have been developed with a future job growth in mind. You can't say that every program in the nation has that, but to be able to say that our programs are designed with the future of New Orleans workforce and the future of the workforce in the United States in mind is really a big asset, because you're looking at going into a field where there's positive job growth year over year. That's something that you can't say for every field. You'll be able to walk out with a degree that has an impact in the field, go into a field that has a lot of Tulane alumni, and to where people like Professor Russo are actively leveraging their connections in order to be able to give you a better experience, to where you're getting industry tie-ins, you're getting internship opportunities. And then the last piece that I really want to highlight is the student success and support that we have here. We've got really wonderful career advising and academic advising. You've got a lot more interaction with your academic advisors than you'll see at some schools. You're never going to be in a position where you're waiting weeks to be able to speak to your advisor. You're going to be able to get your interactions in a very quick and meaningful way. So if you have those questions that come up and you send your advisor an email, you'll usually get a pretty quick response, and that's a rarity. Being able to have a flexible program that you know has positive job growth, and then you get active interactions along the way, I think that's a rarity. And I think if you take the time to explore, reach out to either me or to Professor Russo and find out more about the program, you'll be able to understand how this is going to be really impactful for you if, say, you're either in a career change, or if you're in you're currently in a position and you want to grow that position. We want to ensure that our students are leaving here as prepared as possible. And I think Professor Russo has done a great job of really emphasizing that with programs such as South Balance, like getting to work on a mock company with real situations that occur, and you've got the benefit of your professor's experience to create these mock situations. That's incredible. you are actually going to be prepared for the real workforce, not an imagined workforce where you're in the scenario where you can write about a router, but you can't actually work with it when it's in front of you. Having those practical skills as well as those theoretical and higher level thoughts, it's a wonderful blending. And I really can't emphasize enough how much our faculty, and specifically Professor Russo and Dr. Riles, really push to get the best out of their students. So I'll open the floor up to any final comments from Professor Russo before we say goodbye.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, if you folks are interested, I was interviewed by a very popular podcast yesterday called Cyberwire, and they interviewed me about the future of IT and academic education. I just posted a link to it if you folks are interested in checking out what I have to say about IT education going forward on a national leading cybersecurity podcast. Check that out. And that's the kind of stuff we're doing, where we do a lot of media. We do a lot because we're Tulane. We're looked at as industry experts. Again, these are the kind of things that you'll get when you're a student at Tulane. So I hope to see you folks in my program. And that's all I've got.
Thank you so much for your time today, Professor Russo. For everyone else that joined us today, if you have any follow-up questions or you want to make sure you get that application fee waived, please reach out to me. My email address is shared on the screen, but for our phone call-in listener, I'm just going to spell it out. It's CLLOYD3, that's Lloyd3 at tulane.edu. And you can also call me at 504-865-5333. Thank you, everyone, for giving us a little bit of your day. Bye.